Welcome to Channel U. Today I want to introduce the bestseller book, Complete Output, Turning Learning into Results. It can be said that it's a must-read book to increase the mass of output and lead to self-growth. Author, Shion Kabusawa, psychiatrist, writer. She is active as the best doctor in Japan by communicating knowledge and information on psychiatry, psychology, and brain science to more than 400,000 people on SNS, email magazine, YouTube, and so on in an easy-to-understand manner. This book has several important points. Point 1. No matter how much you input in reading, if you do not output it, it will not be fixed as memory. Self-growth is proportional to the amount of output. Point 2. If you are not good at output, start by speaking. Tell others about what you have read, what you have heard, and what you have experienced. Point 3. Writing is overwhelmingly memorable and promotes self-growth compared to speaking. By writing, you will be able to send signals to your brain, improve your concentration, and actively collect information. Point 4. Input, read, and listen, in addition to the output, speaking and writing. Acting is also important. Output basics. If you don't output it, it won't settle in your memory. What matters is the amount of output, not the amount of input. Which will grow? A person who reads 3 books a month and outputs 3 books, or a person who reads 10 books a month and does not output 1 book. The former, which definitely has a large amount of output. Most people may think that the more you read, the more knowledge you will gain and the more you will grow. But what matters here is not the amount of input, but the amount of output. No matter how much you input, if you do not output it, it will not be fixed as a memory. Take out 1 book on the bookshelf and explain its contents in 5 minutes. Can you do it? If you can explain it, you know the contents of the book. If you can't explain it, it means you don't remember what it's and it does not help you at all. Input is just self-satisfaction. Self-growth is proportional and the amount of output. Law of output. From here, let's introduce the 4 basic laws of output. 1. Use information many times. If you output 3 times or more in 2 weeks from the input information, it will be easy to remain as long-term memory. The first is that information used 3 times in 2 weeks is stored for a long time. If you don't use the input information many times, you will soon forget it. The information input to the brain is temporarily stored. The temporary storage period is 2 to 4 weeks. Information that has been used many times during that time is judged to be important information and is moved to long-term memory. The information is hard to forget. It's similar to temporarily storing money at the cash register at the store and then transferring it to a safe when the money is saved. If you output the information 3 times or more in 2 weeks from the input, it will be easy to remain as long-term memory. Let's talk and hear that information in 2 weeks. 2. Spiral staircase of growth. By performing input and output as a set, it grows little by little like climbing spiral staircase. This is what that explains the relationship between input and output in self-growth. In order to grow, we need to repeat inputs and outputs. But inputs and outputs don't go around the same place. By performing input and output as a set, it grows little by little like climbing spiral staircase. Well-known writers and brain scientists have also mentioned the importance of turning the cycle of input and output. This cycle is just as important for self-growth. B. The golden ratio is 3 to 7. Inputs and outputs at this ratio have proven to be the most efficient. This is because there is too much input and there is not enough output. Be aware of the golden ratio and increase the output. In one study, university students were surveyed on the allocation of input, reading textbook, and output, solving problems of study time. As a result, the average input to output ratio was 7 to 3. When the author conducted a similar survey of seminar participants, the average was also 7 to 3. Take a look at an experiment by Dr. Arthur Gates, a psychologist at Columbia University. This is an experiment in which more than 100 children were asked to recite the person profile written in the personal name picture book. He varied the ratio of time to remember input time to time to practice output time, and examined the group with the highest results. The group with the highest results was the group with 3 to 7 inputs and outputs. It can be said that this is the golden ratio of input and output. It doesn't grow as expected because it has too much input and lacks output. Be aware of the golden ratio and increase the output. 4. Give feedback. Even the precious output will not lead to growth if it's left untouched. There is an indispensable process in turning the input and output cycle. That is feedback. This is the task of evaluation, a result of the output, and making correction to the next input based on the results. This includes review, reflection, improvement, direction correction, fine adjustment, and investigation of the cause. If you make mistake, investigate the cause and take measures. When it succeeds, consider the reason and ask for further improvement. That way, growth will surely be seen. Even the precious output will not lead to growth if it's left untouched. That's all for this time. If there are many requests, I'd like to update this continuation. Thank you for watching my contents. See you next time. Bye bye.